We'll move back to the NFL with a Week 7 preview. This week's action is pretty solid. The headliner, which somehow is at 1 p.m., features the two unbeaten teams of the AFC as the Steelers head to Nashville to take on Derrick Henry and the Titans. It's one of the NFL's best offenses and one of the best defenses. We'll also see the Patriots can right the ship against San Francisco, and the Sunday night action sees Seahawks heading to Arizona to take on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. All right, Drink, what do you think about these games or any other ones we're going to see on Sunday?
Could you let the listeners know what time this Pittsburgh and Tennessee game is?
Yeah, as mentioned, it is at 1 o'clock because it is tragic.
NFL, what the hell are we doing? Like, what the hell are we doing? Like, I could understand if this was a game that you couldn't market, advertise. How hard is it to advertise this game, really? You got the human highlight reel, Derrick Henry on one side. You got the best defense in the NFL by a green mile, and both teams happen to be undefeated. What if this was boxing? This would be on pay-per-view, and yet and still, we put this game in the middle of, I don't know, like some game that no one cares about. Like, we're just gonna put on 1 o'clock because Tony Romo can't talk at 8. I don't know, whatever. College seem to have it figured out. They know how to put a primetime game on CBS. Anyway, to nail all that back, listen, here's the deal. We got the Steel Curtain 2.0. We got the Mack truck, better known as Derrick Henry, going head to head. Both teams 5 and somebody more. And this is very intriguing. I think, well, I don't even think, I know for Tennessee to win this game, Tannehill going to have to live up to that contract. This is what I do know. Because Pittsburgh ain't playing, and they ain't been playing with nobody this year. You ain't coming in there with an average performance and beating Pittsburgh this year. It just ain't happening. And Pittsburgh, quite frankly, they just got to put up a few points. I don't even think they got to go crazy. You could probably win this game with 24 points, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy there. The most upsetting, I'm just upset about that time slot. This is ridiculous. Moving on to the NBC game of the week. You got Seattle and Arizona. I'm very intrigued in this game. If it was a game to be the Sunday night primetime game other than the 2-5-0 teams, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's only 3 teams left that's undefeated. That's 2 of them. And then you got the third one here in Seattle versus Arizona. We just seen Arizona prime time giving the Cowboys the business, giving Jerry Jones the business. I seen him up there with a pacemaker. I don't know. And then we got, Kyler Murray too quick. You know what I'm saying? You got to be faster than that. We seen it go down. This is a very intriguing division matchup. When the last time we actually talked about Arizona and said, this is an intriguing division matchup, but it is. I for one, I like what the Cardinals been doing thus far. We got Russell Wilson, the lead MVP candidate this year, at this moment, playing some good ball. Seattle tighten it up on defense, and you're gonna need to tighten it up on defense because Kyler Murray ain't playing with you. DeAndre Hopkins ain't coming in there to play. Kenyon Drake ain't coming in there to play, et cetera, et cetera. Don't let that get too far ahead of you. So I do like this game being the Sunday night game. I think that's a barn burner. We got another one right here, San Francisco versus New England. That looks like the primetime game in the 4 o'clock window. 2 quarterbacks coming in to save their sorry franchises because, let's be honest here, neither one of these teams was nothing without their starting quarterbacks. We seen when New England rolled out without Cam Newton. You can't be serious. And we also seen the C.J. Beathard hot take minute when he came in for San Francisco, and that was about it. His 15 minutes of fame got wrapped up. So I'm interested in seeing that game with both quarterbacks healthy and ready to go. I do think these are the 3 games to look forward to, but I'm just upset with this Pittsburgh-Tennessee game being that one, as you could tell. Holla at your boy. Over to you, Jay.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Tennessee, it's not unlike some of the other games we've lamented that why on earth are these games at 1 o'clock. I mean, at least it makes it an easy choice. Like, you don't have to – it doesn't take much thought, or it shouldn't take much thought to which 1 o'clock game is the one to watch. I mean, what else – what are you going to do, watch Lions-Falcons? I'd probably rather not watch that when you got this good one. But, yeah, 2 of the 3 undefeated teams left. 2 of them are right here in this one. I really think for Pittsburgh, it's the same as it was last week against Cleveland. Cleveland and Tennessee, they're both ground and pound teams. So it's going to come down to me, much like you said, Ryan Tannehill in the contract, which I do have to give credit where credit is due. Ryan Tannehill has been really good so far this year. 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Passer rating, I believe it's about up to 113. So he's been very good. But we'll see. This is going to be a significant test. And thus far this year, I mean, the defenses that they've played have not turned out to be great. Denver held them down fairly well in their first game, but then we look at and some of these teams in recent history have had solid defenses, but this year it has not been the case. Jacksonville, Minnesota, Buffalo's defense has not been very good so far, and Houston. We know Houston can't stop anybody. And then that brings into question. And Pittsburgh before last week, I mean, we had the same questions about them. I believe Cody brought them up, and rightfully so. But the strength of competition has not been that great. Both teams have really one marquee win. Tennessee put the screws to Buffalo in 2 weeks ago. And then just last week, Pittsburgh absolutely outclassed Cleveland. But other than that, I mean, the schedule has not been particularly difficult for either team so far. And Tennessee's defense, they've had to score a lot of points because the defense it's been leaky, to say the least. We're talking about letting Jacksonville put up 30 on them, Minnesota put up 30 on them, and then Houston dropped 36 on them last week. So the Pittsburgh offense against the Tennessee defense is also going to be something to watch. Pittsburgh is really explosive. James Conner got the ball rolling for him last week on the ground. And then this wide receiving core, plus the tight ends, Big Ben's got a lot of weapons at his disposal. He gets the benefit of getting Deontay Johnson back this week, so you pair him with Juju, James Washington, and the rookie Chase Claypool. And there's a lot of weapons, so where they can spread you out or they can go ground and pound. They also don't forget about Eric Ebron and Vance McDonald. There's a lot to like about Pittsburgh. I think they win it. I think they're among one of the best teams, if not the best team so far. They look really good. And Big Ben's health and the way he looks has a lot to do with it. That was the big question mark coming into this season. In regards to Seattle, Arizona, I think it's definitely, especially the quarterback position, they're kind of a mirror of each other. Just Russell Wilson being the more experienced, savvy veteran at this point. Hard to believe, still looks about as young as he did when he came in the league, but he's been around for a while now. But then Kyler Murray, same type of player. Both of them very explosive and slippery when they leave the pocket. They can make plays, extend plays. That's probably when they're the most dangerous. But I just get the feeling right now that this is probably one of those too soon games by Arizona. I'm not quite sure they're ready to pull off this type of win. They do have the benefit of being at home. But Seattle, I believe, just is on another level right now, and I think they win that one. And in San Francisco and New England, I think this will be the main attraction in the Sunday afternoon games. I think that this will be the Jim Nantz, Tony Romo one. I would guess that the attractiveness on this one is the defending NFC champions against the new look Pats with Bill Belichick and Cam Newton, which to some degree I think it's compelling. I do think this is a huge game for both teams. Remember, San Francisco at 3-3 right now is in last place in that NFC West. So if you lose this one, you're really behind the 8 ball, and it's going to be an uphill fight regardless whether they win or lose this game. But the injury bug has really plagued them, much like the Eagles and Denver Broncos. Those are the 3 teams that I think have been hit the hardest. And they got another issue in this game on Sunday, as both safeties will be out, Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt. So that's going to be tough to overcome for them. And then on the other side for New England, with that loss to Denver last week that we didn't see coming, they're at 2-3. Buffalo's 4-2. Miami has creeped up in front of them. So we knew that division was going to be a little bit more competitive this season with all the losses that New England had endured. Plus, we looked at Buffalo, how solid they are, and we didn't anticipate them all of a sudden forgetting how to play. And then I suspected Miami would be much improved. And Miami looks really good. We'll see how Tua plays next week off the bye. But I think that's a critical game for both of those teams.
Yo, hold on. Sorry, Cody. I got a question. So why wouldn't Jim they don't do 1 o'clock games or something?
I'm pretty sure when CBS has the 425 like national game, I'm pretty sure they'll be on that one.
Okay. Learn something new every day.
The one thing I will say about this Pittsburgh Tennessee game, I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate. Remember, this game was rescheduled because of all the COVID stuff, so maybe because of the reschedule, they couldn't put it in later. I'm just guessing there. I mean, we know that they did flex Seattle, Arizona into the Sunday night spot because Tampa Bay and Las Vegas had to get moved back in case there was some Corona stuff this week with the Raiders. Thought maybe that game might not go, so they wanted to ensure there was going to be a Sunday night game. But I mean, if you're flexing a game as compelling as Seattle, Arizona is, for reasons both you guys mentioned, I mean, I got to think this Pittsburgh Tennessee game is a little bit more compelling. Your two unbeaten teams remaining in the AFC and all the offense, defense, set it up, but maybe for whatever reason they couldn't reschedule it, so I guess we'll leave it at that. But like you guys both mentioned, I mean, this game is fantastic. I think that Ryan Tannehill, God, it pains me to say it, but God, he's been good. Like, it hurts my soul, man. It really does. I hate this simulation. I want to wake up.
You ain't alone. You're not alone.
This Matrix simulation sucks. Damn lizard people. But 13 touchdowns too. I mean, he's been great. He's been everything that Tennessee was hoping he would be when he signed that contract. And if you go back to last season and the last couple games of that season and this season, he's been as good as the best. I mean, we're talking like Patrick Mahomes level numbers. There's some comparisons that show statistically he's been pretty much on par, which is, God, it's mind-blowing to think. I will say Derrick Henry, is in total, he's had a very good start to the season, but it's still been spotty. He's gotten a really high workload. He's gotten over 25 carries in almost all of his games except the last two, where he's at 19 and 22 respectively. But other than the Houston game where he broke out for 212 yards and another 52 receiving, I mean, the workload has been around 3 to 4 yards per carry. It hasn't been anything sensational. So as steady as they've used him and as committed they are to using him, Tannehill has had to pick up the slack. But when I look at it, I'm wondering if we're going to see Big Ben really do a little bit more on Sunday. Because I think, Ryan Tannehill has proven enough now he's going to do his thing sometimes. But Roethlisberger has been great, but he's been mostly managing the games for Pittsburgh. He is probably going to have to do a little bit more on Sunday than just kind of getting by like they've been doing. I mean, he's made the plays when he's had to, but it's not been anything spectacular. I think James Conner's going to have a really good day running the ball. I think that they can do that against the Tennessee defense, but they're going to have to really kind of commit to it. And I think that the Pittsburgh offense can get going. I feel like they can win this game. Like you said, the Titans, again, some of these teams they play, Jacksonville, Minnesota, I mean, they've struggled in some of those games. I mean, I know I watched the Jaguars game. That was one bad call from Jaguars winning the game. Bad. So we'll see. But I think that Tennessee is definitely ripped in the last 2 weeks after they just wrecked Buffalo and then took care of Houston in overtime. So still a little bit of a questionable commodity in both those games or both those teams. And then you guys covered the rest of the games. No reason to go too much more in detail. I think you covered it well. I think the Tampa Bay Vegas game stands out a little bit. I want to see if the Raiders can get another one of those big wins that we see them get sometimes. They're real kind of volatile. I think that Green Bay, you're hoping they kind of, if you're a Green Bay fan, you're hoping you get a get-right game after what happened to you last week. Let's maybe get things back on track against a pretty bad Houston team. Carolina, New Orleans got more interesting this week. We'll tell you about it in Rapid Reaction coming up. So there's a couple other pretty good games. I'm looking at, hey, can Denver shock everyone again? Maybe not, but didn't think they went last week either. And on the subject, one thing with New England, like you said, they're falling back, and but the only two losses they've had up until this past week were the Chiefs and the Seahawks. They were looking still pretty okay, but now that Broncos lost, it looks a little more questionable for them, and you wonder, how much does this COVID thing really hit them? I mean, between the offseason and then the shutdown, I mean, they have been wrecked by this more than any other team by a mile. So we'll see if Bill Belichick likely has his biggest coaching challenge of his career to date. So we'll see if they get it back on track. We'll see.